Howdy, folks. Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer. Hello, Bastille. You actually put something into chat before I could even finish the intro. Wow. That was pretty cool. Haven't seen that happen yet. Hello, Chupa. So we've already got four, right off the bat, we've already got 4 people in here. Right on. So I hope that wherever you guys are, that you're facing some decent weather and not any extreme weather. We've seen that in the last week, like places like Kentucky and so forth, and I've even seen some videos in Nebraska and Oklahoma and Iowa and places like that are getting hit really, really hard with some extreme weather. We've just had a couple of snowstorms. The first one we had was pretty gnarly, but other than that, everything seems to be okay here. We're getting a little bit of snow right now, but we're pretty calm here. I hope you guys are all doing well wherever you're at. So anyway, so for this live, I thought that I'd crack this sucker open for those of you that have never seen it, because I reference it from time to time. I reference the gold box games, and this is the first of the gold box games that came out in the mid 80s, and they were official D&D Advanced Dungeons and Dragons products, and damn, they were good. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Let's see what else. Hey, Mistra. Yeah, I didn't expect to see you being at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning wherever you're at. So hello, Colin. It's late for you too, Colin, isn't it? Yeah, both of you guys. So hey, Mistra, while I've got you here, because you are our resident Final Fantasy 14 player and advocate, etc. So this leads me in perfectly to this topic. The makers, Square Enix, shut down the sale of Final Fantasy 14 and shut down, I think, the ability to create new accounts because the server queues were astronomical or something like that, which is a good sign that the game is doing really well. It's very popular, but that's a pretty extreme. That's an extreme move to make. Which, and again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I think it's probably the right move. I think it's a smart move. It shows a lot of integrity on their part that they're willing to. They're not just after the dollar. Even they got to consider their player base being able to play. If they're paying their money, they need to be able to play. And so by them shutting down the sale and saying, well, at least for now, we're not going to sell any more copies, and we're not going to let anybody create any accounts until we can get these server queues. To me, that's a stand-up thing to do. Don't know that I've ever seen that before. New World kind of did that. They wouldn't let you create any more accounts on certain servers, the ones that were high population. They weren't allowing any new accounts to be, or characters to be created there. But if I remember, they were still selling the game. So now, again, that's not a subscription-based game, whereas 14 is. So anyway, I just wanted to know, for any of you MMO players out there, what your feelings are on it. Mr. says, you got a question about it, but yeah, I think it's the right move. It's a bad experience for new players. They purchase and can't play. It's existing players, new players come in. When the queues can already be over 5,000. Holy crap. Yeah, I was just, Mr. My only question was, how does everybody else feel about it? Because I think it's the right thing to do. I think it shows a lot of integrity that they're willing to shut down sales and everything until they get everything under control. It does make it does make me ask the proverbial question that I always ask with MMOs. World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, Star Wars, the Old Republic, Old Republic Online, you name it, any of them. When they have either they launch a new game or they launch an expansion, as in this case, and I just can't figure out. Maybe because I'm not a software engineer, I'm not a hardware engineer, but to me, I would think after however many times we've seen this in however many different MMOs have done it, and it seems to be the same story always, and that is that there's not enough server capacity. Now, to me, again, being the layman, it seems to me that the answer is just whoever the next one is that's going to launch a game or launch an expansion. If I'm the person running it, if I'm the boss, let's say, and I say to my lead, hardware engineer or whatever, I say, hey, how many servers do you think, worst case, how many servers do you think we need to make sure that number one, the servers don't don't crash, and number two, that there aren't crazy server queues? How many do you, and if that engineer tells me we need 50 servers as the boss, now again, I don't know what the costs are involved, but if that's what the person tells me, I'm going to say put on 100 servers. Put on 100 servers because, and yes, it may mean down the road that there's going to be server merges because at some point, you have the high point and then the low point, when things even out. Yeah, you may have to do server merges, but you won't have the server queues and crashes and instability and everything. Now, again, I don't do this for a living, so I don't know what the complexities and everything are. To me, it just seems like at some point, somewhere, one of the people, especially like New World, like you said, competing with Amazon, Google, and car industry is not fair. You're talking about the chips. Oh, the chips for the servers. Ah, okay. Europe especially suffering. I didn't see all. I was talking so much I didn't even see these comments. Europe especially suffering because we only got 12 servers as opposed to North American 24. Issue is they can't get chips for new servers. I didn't think about that. Square Enix offered double market value and couldn't get them. Damn. Okay, so now that's new information that I didn't have. To me, though, that makes perfect sense. And then their response in not stopping sales of the game is it's even more of a stand up move. But I go back to the games before there was ever a chip shortage, and I always wondered why they didn't just add more servers. Here we have a reason: the chip shortage. Now we know why they couldn't just say, instead of like she's got on here 12 servers for Europe, why they didn't just say, hey, let's put 24 servers on. There's a reason why, because they can't get the chips. Now it makes sense. So I got it. Okay. And yes, they are competing. Absolutely, that is a true statement that they are competing with Amazon, Google, the car industry. You are absolutely correct. Yes. I actually live right up the street, right where my wife works. Across the street from where my wife works is a place where they make chips, and that place has expanded. It used to be called I Am Flash. It was for flash memory and all that stuff, and then it changed hands, and now they make those chips that you're talking about. And yeah, they can't expand fast enough. They can't build fast enough for the demand. So as a result, EU worlds nearly always full. No new characters can be made. Okay. Okay, well that gets me up to speed on everything. I didn't even think about the chips shortage affecting servers. Yeah. So that was like one of the big topics I wanted to talk about. So with that, it seems like we've got that ironed out. I didn't see any other questions from anybody else about that kind of stuff. So let's go into this. So this, like I said, is Pool of Radiance. There's a series. This is a series of 3, and this one says Forgotten Realms. Of course, Forgotten Realms Fantasy Role Playing Epic Volume 1. There was 3. There was this, and then there was a second was Curse of the Azure Bonds, and the third one was Silver Crown, something about the Silver Crown, I think. I can't remember the exact title. This one is for the we used to binge play those in the military, taking 4-hour turns, only had one computer. I'm going to tell a story about that, Chupa. Exactly what you're talking about. When I was in Germany in the Army, I have a funny story to tell about exactly what you're talking about there. But I want to get through this first. Also, 2002 error kicked you from queue, and if not fast enough to log back in, you get back. Ooh, that's yeah, that would suck if you waited like 2 hours and then you got an error and got kicked, and then you didn't get back in quick enough, and it put you back at the back of the. Oh my God, yeah, that would be horrible. I don't even want to think about that. Bastille, you also have this. I figured a couple of you might. This was the one for the IBM PC, and it says requires hard drive or 2 floppy drives. I ended up buying because I got this. I got a second for my Commodore. I have it on Commodore 64 too. I initially played it on that, and then I bought it again for the IBM. I got a second floppy drive just because there's so many disk swaps. That I got a second one just so it would lessen the amount of disk swaps that you had to do. So first off the bat, let's go here. So we can show the back of the box too. For anybody that's never seen it, but it'll be probably backwards for you guys maybe, but these were the kind of the screenshot. That's the screenshots there, how it looked and everything. And the coolest part about this was you got to build your own party of 6 characters, 6 full characters. All you controlled them all. It was awesome, and you could mix and match. Clerics, fighters. There was thieves, assassins, you name it. There's the floppies right there. There's your floppies. The old floppy disk. Now these are the 3 and a half. I have the 5 1/4 for the Commodore. Those are the great big ones. Yeah, this one had discs A and B, C and D. I think this only had 4 discs for this one. But later on in the series, it even got worse. And then this was probably for some reason, I have this in there, Jet Fighter 2. This is the old, well, there's one of your old floppies right here. I don't even know why I have this in there, but there you go. There's another relic. I even have my one of my receipts in here for it too. And I've got all kinds of notes and crap in here. But you got a adventurer's journal with this, which was kind of cool. That's your rudimentary map of the city that you're in, the city of Flan. And this is decent paper stock too. It's pretty thick. And then you got your maps in here and everything, which were excellent to have because there was no internet at the time, so you couldn't just look shit up if you didn't want to. And then you had all your tables and everything back here, straight out of Dungeons and Dragons, out of the rule books. Then, for some reason, and I don't remember if I had to send away to get this, or if I ended up buying. I think I might have bought a collector's edition. And they did give us a total of 21 free game, 21 days, I'm guessing, free game time. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're doing that. I got nothing but respect for them. They're doing everything the right way to try and, take care of their players. So, um, I don't remember. I can't remember. Maybe Bastille or Chupa. Maybe one of you guys will remember this. I got the Clue book. Now, it may have been that I ended up getting a collector's edition later that had like all three of them in it, and then you also got like the Clue books or something. But the reason you had to do this was if you got stuck back in the day. If you got stuck, there was nowhere where to go to get unstuck, to find out like how to solve a puzzle or something like that. You had to just keep trying and trying, no matter how frustrated you got. Now, the only exception to that was, if I remember, you guys might remember this too, and I don't think it did us any good if we were overseas in Germany or whatever. It would have cost us an arm and a leg to call. Check this shit out right here for those that don't already know. This was the hint card. There was a 900 number. There was a 900 number to call, and it cost you money to get a hint. So your options were you either bought a clue book or you had to call a 900 number, which back in the day, 900 numbers were specifically reserved for you call that number, you get charged X amount per minute while you're on that number. It was, let's just say it was more or less that 900 numbers were for adult content over the phone. But they also used it for this kind of shit. And it says here, what are the benefits of the SSI 900 number service? Receive immediate help when you are stumped and need a hint fast. Easy touch tone telephone access to get you the help you need. No more waiting for an open line. No more frustrations. Hints available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call anytime. And then I don't know what. Let's see what. Okay, there you go, right there. What is the cost per call? 95 cents for the first minute. And 75 cents for each additional minute. Right there. To get your, and yeah, because there was no Google. You had to pay, or you had to have one of these. You had to buy the book. So, let's see here. Yeah, and here are the clue. There's the price list for the clue books right here. They were $12.95 a piece. That was $12.95 for the clue book. So your options were, you had to think, am I going to need to call that number? Am I going to spend more than $13 calling that number for hints? Or do I pay the $13 and just buy the book? That was your options. This is your like quick start guide. You got a quick start guide in there that would show you the basics, where what your movement keys were and all that shit. And the reason I brought this out was because I just loaded it up from GOG, G-O-G, goodoldgames.com. I own all of them on GOG also. So I bought the damn thing like 3 times now. I bought it Commodore 64, then IBM, and now I own it on, digitally on GOG. And I decided, what the hell? I just want to see if it'll work. I'd never tried it on a new PC really. And so I loaded it up, and sure enough, it works just fine. So, you had a, yes, very good point. Okay, I want to get caught up here because I think I'm behind here. Bastille, I don't remember a clue book. See, I think it came out. I might have come out later. I can't remember. And Mr. says, I've been meaning to watch your lengthy D&D update tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah, several people have told me that they had to break it up into pieces, because it was so long. But a lot of them ended up watching it all the way through, which was pretty cool. There was a cool feature that you could wait until a fight was almost over and run five of the party members off the screen and get the last member would get all the XP. Good for leveling new characters. Good point. I forgot about that, but I most certainly did do that. You were absolutely right. I may not have done it where I took everybody off the screen, but there might have been like 2 or 3 maybe that I wanted to get caught up on level, and I would take the other ones out and so that I could get them all. I like all my characters to be the same level, So I remember doing that. Hey, Mobius. I used to work at Electronics Boutique, and we would sell the clue books separately. Yeah. So as you can see here, oh, the other one was called Secrets of the Silver Blades. And the reason I know that is because I have a Babbage's receipt right there that has that on there. So, gee whiz, man, I spent, so this was March of 1992, and I got Pool of Radiance for 15 bucks. I bought all of them at the same time. I got Pool of Radiance, Curse of the Azure Bonds was another $15. That was the second one. The third one was Secret of the Silver Blades. That was the third one. And then there was Pools of Darkness, which was the second. There was a second trilogy that came out. Or maybe Pools of Darkness was the fourth. Maybe it ended up being four. I can't remember. But yeah, that might have been the fourth. I can't remember, but I bought them all. I also bought some discs and a joystick. I spent $132 at Babbage's. Damn, in 1992 on video games. Tell me I ain't the fucking vintage gamer. Goddamn it, I got my receipts right here. Shit. Let's see here. This is one. Whoever said electronic, who was working at Bastille? You were working at Electronics Boutique. There's an Electronics Boutique receipt right there, buddy. There's one right there. That one I only spent 15 bucks there. So yeah, for some reason it's cool for reminiscing to see those old receipts and stuff. But you got your rule book, that was separate. So you got your rule book, you had your adventurer's guide, and then the clue book came later, like he was saying. And it won't come up on the screen, but even the writing in here is kind of cool because it's kind of the ink is even kind of, it won't come up at all, but take my word for it, it's actually kind of gold. They didn't go cheap on these books. But you got that. And then the last thing was, good night, Mistra. Thanks for stopping in real quick. And then, as Chupa just mentioned right there, here is your password wheel. This was how they did copyright, basically, to make sure that you didn't pirate the game. You had to have one of these wheels that was a code wheel. And when you started the game up, every single time, it would come up with a combination of these symbols. And then you had to put it together, and you had to read what the name was on one of these lines, and that was your code. Just like now, where like we all have tokens on our phones, like if you're going to sign into your account or whatever, two-step verification, and it'll send you a thing, and you got to put in the code. This was the early primitive fucking version of that right here. But every one of them had to come with one of these little wheels. But they didn't really change them, which was kind of weird because like the later games in the series used the same wheel. So if you had it once, you could use it for all the game. You didn't have, they should have. You would think they would have changed it, but they didn't. So, and then a couple of these. I don't know what the hell this is. Oh, this is like their club or whatever. Their to join their whatever it was, Inside SSI newsletter thing to get part of their club or whatever. So, and that was it. That's the pool. That was your box set right there for 15 bucks. Well, the clue book was extra, of course, but let's see here. Let me go back, make sure I didn't miss anything, and then I'm going to tell that story real quick. See. Okay. Yeah, it sucks if you lose it under the cats. Exactly. So you made sure that sucker was safe because you didn't want to get locked out of your game. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm all caught up here. So what Chupa was referencing, he says that and I'll go scroll back up exactly what he said. We used to binge play those in the military, taking 4-hour turns, only had one computer. Okay. It's funny that he brought that up the way he did because I'll tell you this story. I was living so my wife now is my second wife. My first wife and I, when I was in the army, I was married. I lived off base. So I had a computer at home. I could play till my eyes bled, unless until I had to get up and go back to the unit the next morning or whatever, unless I had guard duty or whatever, and I could play at my leisure. But like he's talking about, there was a couple of guys. If I remember, there was at least two of them, and I introduced. It was like crack. It was like I showed these guys. I was like, man, you guys play D&D, and they played paper and pencil D, and I go, these are awesome, man. They're just like D&D, but on the computer. I told them that, and that day, like we got off work, they went right to the PX. They had a computer already, but they bought the game and everything else. I go home. I played some, of course, because that was there was no American TV over there to speak of other than Armed Forces Network. So I go and I'm playing that game and everything. Go to bed. I remember I went to bed. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I was playing the shit out of it, but I forced myself. I gotta get some sleep because I'm gonna be exhausted tomorrow if I don't. I dragged my ass in there the next morning. These guys, the two of them that I can remember, there might have been three. I walk in that same room where I left them in there. So in the barracks, there's usually 2 or 3 people in one barracks room. You got bunk beds, etc. Sometimes there's 4. There's 2 sets of bunk beds, 4 guys to a room or whatever. And the computer was in one person's room. And I walk in there where I left them. They had bought the game. They're playing the game. And back then, I had luckily never started smoking, but these guys all smoked. There's fucking ashtrays all around the computers, all full of cigarette butts. They didn't stop to dump the ashtrays or nothing. They were still in their fucking fatigues from the day when I left them. They didn't even get out of their fatigues. They had just their t-shirts on. They took their jackets off, but they still had their BDU trousers and their boots on and everything else. They'd been up all night, didn't sleep, up all night playing this goddamn game. That's a true story. And I get there and it's like, I'm getting ready for PT. And these guys I'm like, guys, we got PT formation in like 10 minutes. And they're like, oh yeah, shit. They're putting their cigarette butts out and they're changing clothes right into their PT gear, into their, sweatsuits and stuff like that. Been up all night, smoking and playing that game all night long. That's a true story. So, anyway, so now that I've told the story, Chupa, is that what you were talking about when you said binge? Because that's what I saw. I'll never forget that. I walk in. So is that similar to what you're talking about, Chupa, that you guys did the same type of thing? Because I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you bastards didn't even get any rest? Damn. That's some crazy shit. And that's how addictive those damn games are. So, and I've got it up on GOG right now, and I'm sure when I sit down and actually go to play it, and I have some time on my hands, I know what's going to happen. It'll be 6 hours, or it'll go by, and I'll be like, "Holy crap! What time is it?" Yeah, God, PT was rough enough without a full night with a full night's sleep. Yeah, but well, you remember, but you guys remember, Chupa, Linus, any of you guys that served, sometimes it was you were out drinking and then you came back and you laid down for like an hour. And I remember doing that in the barracks, where we came home and it was like 3:00 in the morning. We had to get up at 4:30 or 5, whatever it was, for PT. And I remember, if any of you guys know what Vivarin are just caffeine pills. And I remember taking 2 aspirin and a Vivarin and taking a big glass of water and then going to sleep, because by the time you had to get up an hour later, that Vivarin will have kicked in and you can get your ass up out of bed to go run PT. And then you would go run PT and you are still drunk and you'd be running PT. Yeah, Linda said right there. Yeah, Fallout's another good. Fallout 4 will do that to me every time too. If I start a new playthrough on Fallout 4, I have to do it when my wife has gone to work and I know she's going to be at work for a while, and I can just sit there and because I know time is just going to go like that every time. Um, yeah, and Chupa, you and Linda's both um, you guys will remember that you didn't want to be one of the guys at the back of the formation because all them guys would be sweating all that alcohol and everything and the odor at the back of the formation was horrible. Colin, but my longest session was the first time I played Minecraft, sat on my sofa for 31 hours with one meal break. So I think my longest session sitting at a computer playing a video game was Alpha Centauri. There was a game called Alpha Centauri by the guy who made the Civilization games. Civilization 1, 2, 3, 4, they're up to 6 now. I think Civilization 6 now. He also made a game called Alpha Centauri where you, if I remember, you start on Earth and you have to build spaceships and stuff and you have to go to a planet and then you have to colonize that planet and then you have to build cities there on that other planet. And this is a true, yep, Sid Meier, that's the guy. I remember specifically, this was a work night, meaning I had to get up for work the next day. I stopped. There was a Fry's Electronics. If anybody knows what Fry's Electronics are, they're all gone now. Here last year, I think they all closed. But Fry's Electronics was on my way home from work when I was back in my security days at Universal Studios. And I would stop there every once in a while just to look at the computer game, see if anything new came out or whatever. I stopped. So it was about, I got off work, I think it was about 5 p.m. They had Alpha Centauri. It might have been on sale. I don't remember why I bought it, but I loved Civilization. It was and they always used his name in the title, Sid Meier's this or that. I bought it because it looked interesting. I remember I went home, I loaded it up, and I started playing Alpha Centauri. So it was probably about 6 o'clock when I started playing, 6 p.m. I played that goddamn thing, and like Colin said, I don't remember if I stopped to eat. I know I stopped, had to use the bathroom. I know I did that. I did get up and go to the bathroom and everything like that. And probably I was drinking water, coffee, whatever. But I was playing that goddamn thing and I finished it in one run through. I played the whole goddamn thing, one campaign, all the way through. And I remember I was finishing it. And just as I was finishing it, I thought to myself, God, it must be 2 or 3 in the morning. And I remember, because I had blackout drapes. Wherever my computers are, like right now, I have shutters, I have everything, because I don't want any light. When I'm playing, I don't need any light glare shining in or whatever. So I had blackout drapes. And I remember finishing it and going, damn, it must be 2, 3 in the morning. I got to get to bed, because I got to work. And then I looked up and I could see light peering through the little gaps in where the drapes were and stuff. And the fear hit me. I'm like, holy shit, is the sun coming up? It was. I don't know, I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever. I had to call in sick. I called in sick. I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling well. I'm not coming in today. It was because I hadn't slept. I couldn't go to work. But I was convinced that it was only about 2 or 3 in the morning. I was like, no way could it be later than 2 or 3. And it was fucking 6. The sun was coming up. That's a true story too. That shit happened to me. That's the longest I ever played it once. Good Lord. Yeah. I lost time there. Like I was convinced there's no way it's past 2 or 3 in the morning. I knew it was late, but no way did I think it would be that the sun would be coming up. I'll never forget that. So anyway, thanks for letting me tell that story because I still have the Alpha Centauri map. It came with a nice big poster map. I have that in my, when you come down the stairs into the basement here, I've got it hanging up there. So, starting to think we're all a bunch of nerds. So, all these stories and shit, So, that leads me to a question. I'm curious when it comes to like the Civ games, like Civilization or SimCity or Alpha Centauri or any of those. Um, did any of you guys have similar situations where like um, time would just disappear? Because the meme is that when you're playing those, like like I said, Civ 6 now, I think. When you're playing Civ 5, 6, 6, Civ 6, whatever it is, that, oh well, I'll just one more turn, just two more turns, because there's the turns of the whole map that everything gets to go, like all your workers and the enemy units and all that stuff. And the meme is, oh, I'll just one more turn, and then one more turn turns into 5 more turns, and then 5 more turns turns into 10 more turns, and that's how you lose time in those specific games. I've never got into the Total War, like the Total War series, where it's more like real time strategy, where you got like you know a bunch of units, army of units, and then the enemy has another, and you're having to fight battles and all that. I've never been able to get into those. But yep, if you're not doing well, you don't want to leave on a low note, hence one more turn. My thing was, Colin, that when I was always, you're always producing stuff, like you're always cooking your next unit, whether it's whatever type of unit it is. And then let's say it's a new technology that you don't even have on the board yet, like bombers or fighter jets or whatever. My whole thing was always like, I can't stop until I create my unit. I got to see that new unit. And then next thing you know, I'm like, well, what unit am I going to build then? And that's where it just fucking goes away. Time just goes away. Um, Yeah, exactly. If you're not doing well, you don't want to leave on a low note. And if you are doing well, just one more turn seeing how you're doing well and all, Yeah, exactly. For me, it was the production stuff too. It was like, especially, and then if you're doing wonders of the world, like you're building the whatever, Leonardo's workshop, or you're building the freaking some monument or the pyramids or whatever you're building, it's like, well, shit, I got to wait until that's finished. And then there's something else that happens, and it's like, oh shit, now I'm in the middle of I'm being invaded by barbarians, or I'm being invaded by Russia or somebody, and now I got to fight that battle. I can't leave. I got to fight this battle, and next it just keeps going perpetuating. Next thing you know, it's fucking daylight, you know. Um, yeah, so that happened. Um, let's see what else. Did I ever show you guys any of you guys that are, so let's see who's on here right now. Well, Colin might know this. Colin, you recognize this? I know it's English ale, but I'm sure you probably get it over there. That's probably one of my favorite beers in the whole world, Hobgoblin English ale, and I can't get it here now. I tried to order it, special order, and it came back. They took the order through our state liquor store, and it came back not available. And yeah, that's my absolute favorite. If I could get that stuff here, man, I'd buy it. I'd buy like 2 or 3 cases just to stockpile it, just in case I wasn't able to ever get it again. So, but I always thought that the artwork, they sent me this. There's a place called Euro Bubblies, was the name of the distributor when I lived in California. And the when we had a website, me and my buddies had a website called The Beer Guys, and we rated beer. And I don't remember how either they saw it or something, and they called me. I can't remember how it went down, but they appreciated the fact that we had rated their beer so highly or something like that. And all of a sudden I get a package in the mail one day. We had a post office box. I get this package, and it had a bunch of Hobgoblin swag in it. This is a mouse pad. So it had the mouse pads, and it had I think it had some bottle openers. There's a poster hanging over there somewhere, a Hobgoblin poster, but I just love the artwork on it. So, um, hope it's not due to Brexit. I didn't think of that, Colin, but that could be the reason. Because when I special ordered it, it was right after Brexit happened. That could very well be, why. Mobius, Berry Ale, came in bottles with his own stopper. Is that your favorite? Um, and if it is, where's it made? What country is it made in? So, oh, I missed one. Oh wait, I missed a couple here. The last game that sucked me right in like that was Factorio. Haven't heard of that one. For me, it was X-Wing LucasArts. So Bastille, was it X-Wing or was it X-Wing versus TIE Fighter? Because for me, they were both excellent, but I played the hell out of X-Wing. And then when X-Wing versus TIE Fighter came out, that one was even, that was, I don't know what it was about. It was like, oh, I get to fly a TIE Fighter now. It was like, yeah, both of them were awesome. But, so let's see here. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I needed to talk about. So, for those of you guys that watched the Dungeons and Dragons recap, how about these guys that had me all ready to do the Frost Giants, and then they decided to go back to the Temple of Elemental Evil. So now, like tomorrow is my prep. Because we play tomorrow night. So tomorrow I'll be prepping in the morning and afternoon and everything. So now I got to go back and reread that Temple of Elemental Evil book again, just to get it fresh in my mind again. But I was talking about that with some of my one buddy in California who's also DM, because he watched it and he was cracking up, and he's like, yeah, he goes, it doesn't matter what you do. Variegated Nauticus. It doesn't matter what you do as a DM. It makes no difference how much you prepare. It doesn't matter how many different avenues you prepare for it. They might go this avenue, they might go that avenue. Doesn't matter. Exactly, Chupa. Yep. Doesn't matter. There's no way I expected them to ever go back into the temple. I thought they were done with that. I thought they were like, we're going to move on to bigger and better things. We've out-leveled it. Da-da-da. Now, mind you, they never finished it. So I get it that they want to go back and finish the task. But they hadn't made any, not even a little bit of a hint to say, well, maybe guys, when we're done with when we're done with the hill giants, maybe we should go back to the temple to clear that before we go on. Nothing, not a drop. Because then I would have been like, they're going to be sneaky. I'm going to have to read that up again, read up on that again, just keep it in the back of my mind. They didn't give me any hint. So that might have been on purpose, bastards. So, but let's see. I think that might do it. I don't have anything else to talk about. We got that tomorrow. Is anybody watching my, I think a couple of you have commented on my EverQuest 2 Let's Play. Now that the marathon session is behind me and my wife's Christmas party is behind me, we've got our game tomorrow, and then Saturday, I want to get on a schedule on my Let's Plays, because I want to keep, that's right, Chupa, I need to remember that I need to add you. Next time I'm on, I need to add, and I remember you spelled it differently. So when I'm on, I'll remember to add you as a friend. Yeah, and it's just going to be getting good now. We finally got done with the starter island, so now we can get into some of the much better content and everything. Chupa says there's way too much to do in that game. There is a lot. There is a lot to consider, and the easiest way to break it down is, I love the fact that they have like your trade skill level separate from your adventure level. So you could just concentrate. If you just want to be a crafter, you can just do that. And there's literally quest chains that take you all the way through as a trade skiller. I mean, you'd kind of want to have your adventuring up too, because you may have to fight some stuff at some point or whatever. But don't forget, you can also hire mercenaries. So, you know, they've made it where if you just want to be a crafter and just put stuff on the and sell stuff on the auction hall and that kind of stuff, and decorate your houses, and then put your houses on public display and get people to vote on them, and then you get awards if they vote on, it just it's a blast. So anyway, but we'll get into some better stuff now that I'll probably Saturday should be a free day where I can just where I'm recovering from our game tomorrow. I can just have a day where, because my wife works almost every Saturday, so I can just I'll do a couple of, I might even do a couple of them. So all right, guys. Well, we're at 45 minutes. And I do need to go spend some time with the wife. She was at work all day today, so unless anybody's got any other questions or comments or anything like that, I think we'll stop her here. Any requests for anything, like what you guys want to see next, as far as like when I do one of these and I show something from my collection or whatever? If there's any requests you guys want to see something, just let me know. Either oh, by the way, I'm at 493, I think, on Twitter followers. So if you guys, like I said before, I'd like to hit 500 by Christmas. I think that's a cool goal. If you guys know anybody that, we can do Boot Hill. I'll do that one next. We'll do Boot Hill next. That'll be the next one. If you know anybody else on Twitter or whatever, you can share one of my posts or whatever, and see if I can just get 7 more, then I'll have 500 by Christmas. I think that's should be an attainable goal anyway. So yeah, we will do. So we got our game. Then we'll do a recap. Probably Sunday. Saturday we'll do some Let's Play. Next live. So next live will be on Sunday, and we'll do Boot Hill for that. So all right, sounds like a plan, guys. Thanks for everybody checking in, and we will catch you on the flip side.